Hello and welcome to Talking Golf with Gary. This week, the dynamic Gary will introduce you to all kinds of topics pertinent to this past week of golf. He'll give you some tidbits of information as what's coming up and take you on a tour around the world for all of the golfing highlights. Sit back and enjoy Talking Golf with Gary.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Golf with Gary. If you're looking at the video, you can see that we're back in our home studio. How nice it is to be back home again. Had a great time, but, there's always something about coming home and being in your own bed and things like that. So just enjoyed it immensely. But now we're back, and boy, was there lots of action this week. Course records, everything going on in the world of golf, and let's take a look at it. And we'll start with a recap of the PGA Tour as we close in on the Tour Championship. The next round of the playoffs is in the books, and Justin Thomas is the winner of the BMW Championship. He held off Patrick Cantlay to win by 3 strokes at 25 under par. Now, really, a lot of Thomas's lead came about on Saturday as he shot a course record 61. It was unbelievable. He was on fire, 11 under. He just was, everything was going in. He was chipping in from the round the greens. I mean, it was just some really it's like going to school in golf shots. He was just so good on Saturday, and that built his lead. Cantlay carded a final round 65 with Hideki Matsuyama of Japan a further 2 shots back after a brilliant 9 under 63. Thomas has taken over the top spot in the FedEx Cup standings from Brooks Koepka, who partnered Mickelson in the final round and finished with a 5 under par 67, his best of the week. Cantlay has also moved ahead of Koepka into second place, but will still play for the in-season ending tournament in Atlanta. So big one coming up this week, the Tour Championship at East Lake in Atlanta, and now Justin Thomas is looking like the man to beat in that. And we'll have to see how that all works out. Koepka is not going to be denied. He's still lurking, so you can't count him out either. One guy you can count out is Tiger Woods, who did not make the cut and did not make the top 30. As well as Phil Mickelson, Jim Furyk, a whole bunch, Aaron Baddeley, whole bunch of big names did not make the top 30. So they will not be at the East Lake, and Tiger will not be there to defend the title. PGA Tour champions were in action, and Doug Barron made an impressive return to professional golf last month when he tied for 5th at the Senior British Open just days after his 50th birthday. Barron won the Dick's Sporting Goods Open at Enjoy Golf Club in Endicott, New York on Sunday after qualifying for the event on Monday. The former PGA Tour journeyman who disappeared from the professional golf scene for several years became the first Monday qualifier to win on the Champions Tour since 2012, according to the Golf Channel. Barron outlasted Freddie Couples by shooting a final round 66 to finish 17 under in the 3-round event. The victory continues an improbable return for Barron, who had not played a PGA Tour affiliated event since an unsuccessful stint on the developmental Korn Ferry Tour in 2012. The victory in the Dick's Sporting Goods Open will secure Barron future status on the Champions Tour. No more qualifying on a Monday. It also earned him a $307,500 $500 paycheck. Barron rolled in a birdie putt on the 16th hole after a 132-minute rain delay to jump ahead of Couples by a stroke. Then Barish finished with a birdie on the 17th and a par on the 18th to secure the victory. And Freddie Couples was warming up thinking there might be a playoff, but Barron took care of that when he drained that putt on the 17th and took a 2-shot lead. So congratulations to Doug Barron, who, played really well. If you watched any of that, he was right on the money. He was nailing all his shots. Just played a wonderful, wonderful round, 3 rounds of golf. Tomas Pieters, I should say, ended his 3-year wait for a 4th European Tour title as he claimed a one-shot victory at the D+D Real Czech Masters to continue his love affair with the Albatross Golf Resort. Pieters, who secured his maiden win at the Prague venue in 2015, became the first man to win this event twice, courtesy of a nerveless 69, which contained 5 birdies and 2 bogeys. The 2016 Ryder Cup star led from start to finish on Sunday with 4 birdies on the front 9, keeping the chasing pack at arm's length, and a further gain at the 12th, powering him over the line. Pieters' playing partner, Adri Arnos, finished alone in second place. At 18 under par after carding an eagle. 4 birdies and 3 bogeys in his closing 69. Defending champion Andrea Pavin was doing everything in his power to ensure the trophy returned home with him on Sunday afternoon, but his 65 was only good enough for a share of third place at 16 under alongside Sam Horsfield. Now, congratulations to Tomas Pieters for winning the Czech Masters, but if you recall last week, I don't know where I had it, but there was some convoluted event that was showing up on my phone that I read that was supposed to be men and women combined, and I think that was from earlier in the year. But I do apologize that I completely missed this in last week's calendar and gave you this other event and a big instruction about how it was going to take place and everything, and it didn't happen. And as I said, I believe it already happened earlier in the year. So I do apologize for that, but congratulations to Tomas Pieters for taking care of business and winning the Czech Masters. Sometimes you get little glitches like that where you see things and you think, I don't know what I saw. I don't know where I saw that, and I didn't have my regular sheet of paper that I have everything written out on for the tournament. So, it is what it is. All right, let's take a quick break and come back because there's lots of news this week as well in the world of golf, and we'll be back with that right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
And I recommend that you tune in to Baseball and Barbecue. It's a terrific show, and they have terrific guests on there, and they are good people and good friends of myself and the podcast, especially Mets Musings, which is another show I do, which covers the New York Mets. So I hope you'll go check them out. And in the news this week, Phil Mickelson's been struggling on a course in recent weeks, so could have done without a freak occurrence, which left his participation in the final round of the BMW Championship at Medina in some doubt. The 49-year-old American was staying, like many other players and officials, at the Eaglewood Hotel, close to the course course, but surely reckoned without it being struck by lightning Sunday morning. A fire ensued after the strike, with the Chicago Fire Department arriving on the scene to put it out, but also evacuating the hotel guests, including Mickelson. With a scheduled early tee-off time at 10:52 a.m. local, Mickelson was left without his clubs and closed and used social media to share his dilemma. Fortunately, Lefty was allowed back just in time and arrived at the course with about a half an hour to spare for his fourth round, needing a miraculous charge up the field to have any chance of making the top 30 qualifying for the Tour Championship finale at Eastlake. Sadly, after his early morning hiatus, Mickelson could find little inspiration in his final round, still searching for the form that saw him win for the 44th time on the PGA Tour at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am back in February. He finished with a 1 under par 71 for a 5 under overall, and I believe he finished 47th in the FedEx Cup standings, so he will not be making an appearance at the Tour Championship. And you know, the hot topic this week, or the last few weeks, has been slow play in the PGA Tour, and at the center of it has been Bryson DeChambeau. He was adamant about the way he plays, however, with some criticism from his fellow pros, which the world number 8 responded to, along with the PGA Tour's announcement it would review its pace of play policy, seems to have prompted a change from Bryson. Late on Monday, Bryson took to his official Instagram account and said that he would work to improve his pace of play. He said in a statement he's going to work on improving his pace of play. He previously defended his current pace by saying that he walks faster in between shots than other players, but it looks like he'll be taking a deeper look at other elements of his game in the future. Now, Brooks Koepka and Rory McIlroy were two of the loudest critics of DeChambeau and the way he plays, and he is slow. But there, you know, on one hand, there's a lot of money at stake here, and you don't want to make a mistake. On the other hand, there is plenty of time. If he does run to a shot, he should start his preparation at that particular time. You know, I think you can over-prepare as well for a shot and really kind of screw you up. You know, by paralysis by analysis. We go back to that statement all the time, but I think that's a good way to explain it. So, in the vein of the slow play, the European Tour announced a 4-part plan on Monday to tackle slow play in the coming years, headlined by shot penalties and greater fines. The Euro Tour Tournament Committee agreed to a plan in July and has apparently spent the last month fine-tuning that plan, the tenets of which are regulation, education, innovation, and field size. By regulation, the Tour plans to strictly enforce and monitor the time it takes for players to play shots. If a player is being monitored and has had 2 bad times where they failed to play in the allotted time of 50 seconds for the first player and 40 seconds for ensuing players, they will receive a 1-stroke penalty. In the past, a player would have to have had a bad time to become officially timed before the 2 bad time rule would be enacted, and thus there were no stroke penalties handed out. So I guess no more warnings. Players out of position, meaning not maintaining appropriate amount of time they ought to play the course, is not the only rule being changed. In position, timing has been altered as well, so that players will have 85 seconds to play if they are first to play, and 70 seconds if they are second. That is a 15% reduction from current time standards. Players who are timed many times throughout the year will also face stiffer fines at the end of the season. Of course, there are tricky, unpredictable moments that occur during tournament play. For those instances, players have the option to request one-time extension per round for an extra 40 seconds. What I don't understand is what happens if there's a ruling that needs to be, and they're waiting for a judge to come and rule on it. I don't know if that counts on the clock or if they have to use their extension or what for that, but that we'll have to see how they work that out. Also included in the 4-part plan is education lined out by young tour players and new members passing online ruling tests to help reiterate the rules of golf and hopefully avoid unnecessary rulings. Those tests will be repeated every 3 years. The third step of the plan is innovation, which includes an important date and tournament, the BMW Championship, September 2019. At that event, one of the Euro Tour's Rolex Series tournaments, the new system will have its first trial run. According to the Euro Tour, every group will be timed on every hole, and some holes will include signs on the tee that alert groups that they're positioned relative to the groups ahead of them. Finally, the field sizes wraps up the plan. Euro Tour events will no longer stretch to 156 players. Instead of the number of competitors will be capped at 144. Less players means more space, faster play. At least that's the theory. So we'll see how that all works out. One thing you have to say, the European Tour is taking the bulls by the horn and trying to get something done with this issue with time. And, you know, it's a tough thing. You know, it's a tough thing to say because I myself don't like to get rushed through the golf course when I go play, and you know, I don't mind if it takes a while, and I'm sure that there's other people don't like spending a lot of time there. I don't mind it. Some people don't. I don't know. It's a tough thing. I do try to play ready golf and be ready to go. Part of my problem is I have a bad knee, and if I'm walking, it takes me a little longer. I'm a little slower. And even if I'm in a cart, I tend to hit the ball all over the place, so it takes a little longer that way as well. But you know, we'll see how all this works out, and I'm sure the PGA will have to adopt something, if not similar, something in the same line, so that there's not total confusion between the tours. And Tiger Woods is coming out, and he announced his schedule for the rest of the year. And it looks like he's just going to play one more tournament, and that is the brand new Zozo Championship. He's going to go to Asia to play that. He's also got the Skins Games at that same course against Rory McIlroy, Jason Day, and Hideki Matsuyama. We'll also see him at the Hero World Champions Challenge, his Bahama-based event in early December. After that, he'll fly directly to Australia, where he'll captain the U.S. President's Cup team. The only question is whether he'll be playing on the team. He finished in 13 on the points list, shy of the top 8 automatically qualified positions. As a result, he'll need a captain's pick from himself and the rest of the team. I'm sure he'll consult with everybody. I have not seen the list. I have to check the list to see who may be better equipped to be on that team other than Tiger at this point. He may just want to captain it. I think it probably would be the best thing at this, for him to just let the captainship take place and not worry about playing. But we'll see what he decides to do. It's still nice to have Tiger Woods on a President's Cup team. Okay, let's take a break and be back right after this.
Sponsor an ad on the podcast. Support our show and let people know about your business. Email us today.
516-362-0443. That is the Talking Golf hotline. If you've got a question, a comment, or want to leave a voicemail, say hi. That's the number to call, 516-362-0443. Or if you'd like to leave an email, you can email the show at talkinggolf@gmail.com.
Now it's time to do the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar. Oh, hooray, let's sing the calendar. Now it's time to do the calendar.
And on the calendar for this week is, of course, the end of the PGA season. The Tour Championship takes place at East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia. Tiger Woods is the defending champion, but he will not be there to defend his title, so it's up for grabs, as he did not make the top 30, as we said earlier. The Champions Tour, they'll go to the Great Northwest, where they'll be playing the Boeing Classic. And Scott Perrell is the defending champion at that event. The European Tour is playing the Scandinavian Invitation, and Paul Waring defends that title. And the LPGA Tour is back in action, and they are playing the CP Women's Open. Brooke Henderson defends. So that is the calendar. So now you have the recap, the news, and the calendar for the upcoming week in golf. And what more do you need? That's great. All the news is fit to print or fit to read. You now have in your grasp simply by listening to Talking Golf with Gary. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoy it. I want to thank you all for listening, and don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen or watch the podcast. Hit the subscribe button. That helps me grow the show and expand to new listeners. And until next time, remember, as you walk down the fairway of life, you must smell the roses, for you only get to play one round. Have a great week, everybody. I'll see you next time on another edition of Talking Golf with Gary.